MotoGP leaves the French Grand Prix at Le Mans and moves over earlier than usual to the UK. Welcome to Silverstone for the British Grand Prix of 2025. The green light is on and we go underway for FP1. Away we go then, and the first session is go here for MotoGP. The bikes will venture out onto the circuit, and now the atmosphere builds up, the tension builds up. There's so much more intrigue and interest coming around MotoGP. We've got so many different championship protagonists coming through. Anything can happen in this series, and it usually does when it comes to MotoGP. Well, the first session is underway, the atmosphere is go, and we're all going to be expecting, hopefully, a good session. Let's just get this all set up correctly with the timings, because there's so much more information. Johan Zarco, winner last time out. What on earth can he do coming into this championship run as well? He's now very much in the mix of things, as for some reason we haven't got our data working here on the communications chart, so while we just refresh that a bit. Give us 1 second, timing page, there we go. Just a quick refresh and there we go. All the riders heading out there onto the circuit then. Marc Marquez once more being the last of the runners. Everyone out there on hard and medium tyre. This is the British Grand Prix then, and the opening round of the championship of the weekend for practice one. We have practice later on. That'll set the running order for Q1 and Q2. Fingers crossed it's going to be an interesting one. Let's check in then with TNT Sports and all the action. As soon as I actually add it to the order. There we go, let's check in with them.
Still going 1 second and a half faster than everybody else on track. He finished with, what was it, 20 seconds the gap in the end, so absolutely massive. So clearly he was in those, you know, as a rider, there's very little moments where you feel like you're in this zone, you know, and Zarco made that happen exactly at the right time, and like Michael said, it was a fairy tale. There was everything there, and this is what we needed it as well. I think for the championship itself, it was great to see something like that. So it just reminds you that in motorbike racing anything can happen, and you can sometimes have some massive surprises like this, and everything came together in France for Johan.
And I guess it resonates out as well, you know, to the other team members, and I extend that to the factory team. We're looking at Johan Mir on track now. The confidence starting to really build with Honda, isn't it? It is, and we're seeing positive signs, engine performance, chassis, how they can make it work in one lap time attack, in race trim, in wet weather conditions, picking up the victory. The fact that they're always knocking at the door on a Friday afternoon to getting a qualification directly through to Q2, that's a massive step this year. And we know they're investing heavily in the project, and obviously looking at 2027, I think Honda will be a favourite. The Japanese manufacturers have gone full circle now that Yamaha and Honda are contenders, and it's not just about the European manufacturers with Ducati, Aprilia and KTM. So I think even now with the rest of this year and next year, Honda are going to continue to push the envelope, but when we come back with a brand new package, I'm excited to see what Honda bring to the table. And I think it's good. Luca Marini's out of contract at the end of the year, in discussions. Jorge Martin's name's been in the mix for Honda. There's a lot of names that want to be in their on their roster as they see the growth of the factory. And yeah, it's exciting times for Honda again after a bit of a tough few years across the board in every way imaginable. They just haven't had any light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, and Pedro Acosta also still being talked about for the VR46 seat, but also for Honda, despite the fact that the good news for KTM is that they seem to have resolved for now their financial issues. That kind of, it's very complicated, but it seems to have all been worked out now, so a lot safer, a lot more solid base. Yeah, the latest hurdle seems like they've managed to put the loan together to as we're going to see Pecco Bagnaglia's crash again. So this is why Bastianini got that long lap penalty, hitting Pecco Bagnaia at the start and causing a crash. So Enea Bastianini will have to do a long lap penalty at in the is it in the race or in the sprint? In the race. It's in the main race. Yeah, in the main race. So yeah, unfortunately Pecco Bagnaia had absolutely a nightmare weekend in Le Mans.
and yeah, that was not his fault there. Joan Mir there getting injured as well, so yeah, easy done though in Le Mans. Turn well, what they call turn 3, first chicane at the start was really it's a really tricky point, a point where we see many accidents, especially at the start. And in Le Mans, it is the worst track for the riders to start with the ride devices engaged. You know, they have to do turn 1 with the devices still engaged, and then they get to turn 3, left side of the tires, very little temperature in those tires, and it's very easy to make a mistake. So yeah, you'll have to do a long lap for that.
It doesn't feel like the stars are very aligned at the moment for for Pecco Bagnaia, sorry. What about here at Silverstone? He has had a race win, but it does seem as though he's struggled so much on Saturday, and over we're hearing that same reason about just not being able to feel the bike the same as he can on a Sunday.
Yeah, he hoped, I think, that he would get to the test at Jerez, they would unlock something, throwing a few parts at it, but he hasn't been able to access the feeling he had. Ooh, little twitch on the rear there.
Yeah, slight twitch coming through. And yes, absolutely, this is the breaking news that Pecco Bagnaia is going to have to serve his penalty throughout the race as well. So that is unfortunate for him, but kind of a win some, lose some situation, unfortunately, of how he's going to have to hold the remainder of said weekend. But another interesting plus side to all of this is that we now have the situation where Fabio Quartararo has to serve a 10-minute penalty. This is for crashing under the yellow flag as well last time out. So a 10-minute penalty ban for Fabio Quartararo, and Bagnaia has to serve a long lap penalty in the main race for causing the collision on the French Grand Prix weekend. So that's why Quartararo is now out there right now. Marc Marquez is the fastest at the moment, 159.810. Then it's Marco Bezzecchi and Jack Miller, Johan Zarco, Franco Morbidelli, Pecco Bagnaia, Pedro Acosta, Jack Miller, Ralph Fernandez, Luca Marini is your top 10 coming into it as well. It's going to be an interesting weekend to fly in. Yeah, so I'm just trying to find out the confirmed reason for Quartararo. He's now got 12 million on his payments out there as well, which is quite an interesting one. And the latest on Fabio, it was that he had to serve a penalty. Yeah, suspended of 10 minutes of FP1. There was a reason for it, I've forgotten. Coming through, Bastianini caused it, it's why Pecco getting penalised. 2 penalties causing it. That's how my memory works anyway. Sorry everybody, I just realised that we've got an issue with there we go. I lost the side panel of the YouTube studio plug for some reason. It popped out. Sorry about that. I had to make sure it was all okay. Quartararo suspended for 10 minutes in FP1. Yeah, failing to follow the marshal's instructions. There we go. So it was failing because he crashed under the double yellow and failed to follow the instructions to actually get back out onto the circuit. So effectively, unfortunately, Quartararo was in a dangerous position at the last corner at Macudamont and failed to get back out there on the circuit. Bezzecchi as well, back up there. He's on a 27 down the Wellington Straight towards Brooklands. And how nice is it to be back at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone in May as well. It's the track temperatures are cooler than usual. Usually when we're here it's boiling hot. So there is a big difference coming into it. But no, it's all looking good so far. Let's go back to TNT.
This year in Jerez, so he's been there or thereabouts with podiums, growing as he does in stature and in confidence, and here he is now fighting for the championship.
And you know what, part of it, because obviously we've watched all the races, they are working together. It's bizarre, you're watching the Marquez brothers work together weirdly, even though they are obviously 1 and 2 in the championship. But I genuinely feel like part of it is working together to try and pull Alex closer to Mark, to pull him away from Pecco. I feel like that's part of. I genuinely feel like Mark's that confident.
What, do you feel like there's another plan going on this year?
That's another like element to it. Obviously, goal number 1, win the World Championship. Goal number 2, make sure my brother beats my teammate and finishes second. I mean, and so far the plan's working.
Well, I obviously did ask him that question yesterday, so you can watch that unfold on Sunday morning. We're just about to see Fabio Quartararo go out, and that is because he's got a penalty for talking badly, really. Arguing in Le Mans when he came off with
the marshals,
which is two ways of looking at it, really. It's just about, so he got a 10-minute penalty. He had to miss the first 10 minutes of this, which sort of gives a warning to everybody to say you've got to respect the marshals, which they all know. But I suppose in the moment, when you're at your home Grand Prix and you've crashed out, you are on the rev limiter personally, aren't you? But what Simon's saying is it's no excuse, you've still got to respect everybody.
Yeah, you do, and the marshals are there for your safety and the safety of the others as well. He was in a spot that, you know, potentially if somebody could have crashed and ended up there, but obviously he wanted them to push him out of the gravel and try and restart the bike, because it was, you know, difficult conditions, and his race, he thought, was not ruined. So yeah, he was arguing, so he got 10-minute sin bin. I mean, we've not really seen that before.
If you just named it that, the sin bin.
It is the sin bin, isn't it?
Let's call it the sin
10
bin.
minute.
Yeah, I like that one.
So 35 minutes of practice instead of 45 minutes. I don't think that's going to make a difference, but that's just probably, you know, a way for Simon Crafar to just say, look, you guys, you can't do that, and if somebody does it again, you're going to get punished. So yeah, but yeah, for Fabio, obviously in the heat of the action, he could see that the bike wasn't damaged, and he was just so desperate to restart his home Grand Prix. Yeah, but yeah, he argued just a little bit too long probably with the marshals.
Yeah, they had a test, didn't they? A private test, him and Alex, in Misano. They lost a day, I think, with weather, but the second day seemed to go really well. Some positive comments from Fabio that could play out this weekend.
Yeah, he's been looking good on. Especially since the new engines arrived, I think they're really happy. All four Yamaha riders very complimentary about the package, but the test in Misano was important for them just to dial in a few things, and yeah, it seems positive all around. This is a racetrack, although it's fast, it's also very flowing, and one that could suit Yamaha and Fabio, and has done over the years. So yeah, they'll be looking forward to having a proper go at it here.
Lap time cancel for Luca Marini for a shortcut out there on the circuit. So there's a few changes that are cropping around as things stand with 32 minutes to go. Pedro Acosta is coming back into the pit lane now. So he's just changing things slightly. It's Marc Marquez on top from Bezzecchi, Miller, Alex Marquez, Di Giannantonio, Bagnaia, Acosta, Morbidelli, Mir, Zarco, Binder, Aldeguer, Ralph Fernandez, Alex Rins, Marini, Oliveira, Aguirre, Bastianini. Then we get Aleix Espargaro back in this weekend as a wildcard rider. Chantra, Salvadori, Vinales, Quartararo will be setting a time shortly as well. Yamaha running some aero tests on Jack Miller's bike. The wires are a measuring device, if you see them. That is latest from Simon Patterson, who's trackside. And Maddie's there this weekend at the British Grand Prix as well. Surprised a couple of people that she's back. And Maddie, delighted to see you back at the British Grand Prix as well. And don't forget, next weekend is the Isle of Man TT as well. And stay tuned for some updates on our coverage plans if they all go through. Fingers crossed very much for that. We'll have a couple of days of running when we get into our production meetings. Just a reminder, for the final 15 minutes of this session, Megan Birch will be in the chair, swapping between that and the TNT team as well. So, or just sort of getting ready. This certain TNT screen as well. For some reason, it's cutting. It's not fading. So I don't know why when we move forward, it's not working that much. Hang on a minute. The fade is set to 300 seconds. Let's just change that. It's all hickety-pickety, isn't it, at the moment as well? Scene transitions. What's the main one set? OBS still now. Fade. There we go. That should be better. Let us know where you're watching from as well for the British Grand Prix. It's our home event at Silverstone. It's our home British Grand Prix. We're very happy that we've got it. But I know that it's disappointing we can't be trackside. This weekend also clashes with Formula 1, the Monaco Grand Prix, of course, and IndyCar with the Indianapolis 500. So it's impossible for us to be trackside. But next year things are going to be a bit different. And hopefully the British Grand Prix returns to its traditional August date. And this clearly isn't working, by the way. There's hardly any fans here today, and that is the big disappointment. Do you know why? It's a bank holiday weekend, yes, but MotoGP haven't been smart. If they were smart and done a bank holiday weekend right, they would have done what the British Superbikes do and done it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and done a Monday race, which is what a lot of bank holiday racing here in the UK is. But everybody on Friday, it's GCSE week as well. So everybody here in the UK is battling. Donington or Silverstone? Silverstone is the Grand Prix venue destination, but Donington is much more a bike circuit. Having been there for World Superbikes and seen how popular it is, yeah, I would say definitely Donington. It's easy for me to get to actually as well. To do it. And we already had a commentary box there early on in the year. So yeah, Donington for me would be better. Watching from Australia is Michael. Hello. What time is it over there in Australia? Is it nearly? Was it 12 hours? It's 11 o'clock in the evening. My goodness me. I've got this little world clock on my Apple Watch. There we go. It tells me where it is. So yeah, 11 o'clock. My goodness me. Hawaii's 1. As they come through. How I'd love to. Who wouldn't love to be in Hawaii, by the way, as well, for a little bit? That'd be a lot of fun. 9 PM. Oh, is it really? So, are you in Sydney then? In that time zone? At 9 PM. Again, it says it here. Sydney, 9 PM. 5 PM in South Asia. For Shakram as well. Welcome to you. Quartararo now, aren't they, on soft, medium front and rears? So soft front, medium rear. They are not testing much with him on this session. I think it's just very much get out there and do as much as you can, as quickly as you can type of game. After several incidents earlier on in said weekend. Oh, I wonder if that's possible. Hello. Megan's walking past the commentary box. So she'll take over for me shortly as I go over to MotoGP, then sorry, to Formula 1, and then Megan comes over to Formula 1 afterwards as well, and all ready to go. Alex Marquez moves into second, cuts his brother's advantage to 2/10. Mark is very much the pick for everything as Quartararo comes into Copse corner, holds the inside line to the tight right-hander, opens up the throttle as you head down towards Maggots and Beckett's, the wonderful tricky section to hold through. Left, right again. It is a brilliant circuit as they continue to plan out. Let's head over to TNT.
Have their opinion, and it's up to Jorge to decide if it would detract from his legacy as a world champion. I don't think it would. We've seen incidents in the past where riders under difficult circumstances have to make a tough career decision. Again, at the same time, I do believe Jorge on the Aprilia could be a force. You're facing everything on at the moment with Bezzecchi, and it's been a tough time, but we've seen really good signs from Ayagura. So I'd love to see Jorge fully fit back on the bike over the summer period, get some wins, and then somehow they shake hands and go forth, because I know it would be a tough scenario. The Aprilia engineers putting it all behind him, saying he doesn't even want to be here if he does end up staying in the future. But those relationships can be repaired pretty quickly, and you get on about your business. But yeah, there's a long way for this to rumble over the summer period, and we're going to talk about it in some way now. But I'm glad to see Aprilia taking the hard line and trying to defend their corner. It's the only move they've got right now, and let's see when Jorge is fit to return what is possible.
They do, though, don't they? Aprilia do tend to take the hard line. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that a rider had managed to unstitch a contract. We saw Johan Zarco able to get out of his KTM. Of course, Mark left Honda. These are all different scenarios, but basically you can get out of a contract legally, but it can be quite messy.
Yeah, well, mentioning Aprilia, the contract with Sam Lowe's was Brocken was supposed to be a 2-year deal. I don't know exactly what the clauses were, but I got the feel at the time that Sam was expecting to do 2 years, and the deal ended after 1 year. So we've seen it going both ways. That's what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I do agree with Michael though. We've not been able to see Jorge Martin on that Aprilia, and when he came back in Qatar, he was still very much injured, very much suffering from those injuries physically, and he had no race rhythm. You know, he came back after months after being off the bike, and he had almost no experience with the bike either. So we've not seen anything yet of Jorge Martin and Aprilia, and for sure it would be really interesting to see what they can do. And I personally think that they could do really well, but yeah, it's like Michael said, it's a short career as well, and you know, when you're at home thinking about all this injured and suffering physically and mentally, it's a tough time.
Yeah, it is. Let's move forward then. Alicia Spargo wildcarding this weekend. A deleted Instagram post to go along with the Aprilia story as well, with Jorge Martin out in India. Apparently it's Jorge Martin out partying, and they photoshopped the face. It was just, well, you know, it all sort of adds to it, doesn't it, really? It's been deleted anyway. But Aleix, around Silverstone, a track that could suit him. I mean, obviously, as a wild card with Honda, what do you expect from him this weekend? It's
going to be tough. Obviously, wildcard rider, and adapting well to Honda, and may actually have a word in the ear of Jorge Martin. They are best mates, and obviously he was the captain at Aprilia, but now very much so as test and development rider at Honda. I think Aleix he's obviously having to come to terms with now being a test rider, where over the weekend the focus isn't on getting you on the podium or inside the top 5. It is on testing components, getting the bike better for Luca Marini, for Johan Zarco, and yeah, that's a difficult prospect for someone who's been in championship contention over the last few years for Aleix, but he's accepted that role and seems to be enjoying it.
Yeah, certainly does. We just saw Firmin Aldeguer going out, growing in stature as this season continues, really impressing the paddock.
Yeah, getting better and better, and super aggressive, precise, and still and progressing really fast. You know, we saw in Austin, it was really surprising the pace he had at the end of the race, and he has been crushing quite a bit. He's doing exactly what a rookie basically should do. You know, pushing hard, taking liberties, getting making mistakes, pushing too hard, and but learning really well. And in Le Mans, again, he showed in the main race on Sunday, he showed how good he was at adapting. He never hardly rode that bike in the wet, and in Le Mans it was very treacherous, you know, riding with the wet tires there. We've seen many crashes, really hard to get on with the conditions, and he did.
Just going to interrupt for a second to sorting out in chat as well, because ICANN is asking when is the qualifying. Qualifying is tomorrow morning as well, same time zone, so you'll be joining us at 11:10 is practice 2, 11:45 British Summer Time is qualifying. The stream is up now on JBMotorsports 2 if you want to go and take a look at it. The running order, the session to decide the running orders of Q1 and Q2, that is this afternoon at 4 o'clock British Summer Time. All the streams are in the JB Motorsports subscription below. Just a reminder that on Sunday we have the Moto3 and Moto2 races live on the second channel, and on JB Motorsports is where the main Grand Prix will be happening on Sunday. That is a heads up to you as well. Marc Marquez looking quick then with the fastest first, and a personal best middle sector as well. Sector 3 looking strong as he comes through. Maggots and Beckett's down towards Chapel and the Hanger straight. Mark, red sector with a used tyre. Yeah, on 8-lap old, soft rears. I'm getting really close to the camera there. I do apologise, people, as it comes through. But yeah, so a few improvements coming as 0.029 up. Mark is improving like absolute crazy at the moment as well. It's quite a surprise. As, I'm just trying to see if... There you go. There's the best time sections as things stand. So you can see Mark with a 158.702, Alex a 159.123, Bezzecchi 159.343, Quadraro 0.423, 0.570 for Miller, 0.716 for Di Antonio, 0.746 for Bagnaia. As look at that, Mir jumps to 9th, 159.922. So times improving dramatically here, which I think is the best sort of news and situation that we could possibly hope for coming into it. Yeah, not a too bad a session actually, as to what we were thinking. There's a lot of improvements coming. 19 minutes to go then here of the first practice session for the British Grand Prix weekend of MotoGP. The wonderful race that we have lined up here is going to be absolutely spectacular as Fabio Quartararo back into the pit lane after his opening run. Mark is still fast as well in that middle sector. Improvements coming.
Funny enough, Fabio said that it's because we're not changing too many things on the bike recently. We decided to sort of settle for something that works, and I'm just working on my feel with the bike and getting the best out of it. And sometimes that's the best thing to do as well. So they're working really hard still. You know, we've seen it with that test again, straight away to Misano, 2 days testing again. It's a very hard schedule for all the members of the Yamaha factory team, but they're making inroads, and Fabio, yeah, in Le Mans was looking really magnificent on that bike. They were suffering with race pace though in the sprint. We've seen it in the sprint, you know, where he started well, but then
started well. Mark's looking quick on this lap time, so I'm off to Formula One. I will leave you with Megan. We'll take over shortly from TNT.
And line him up on brakes. They've got, you know, they've got the power and they've got the efficiency when the tyre grip drops a bit.
And we were looking at Jack Miller, who looks like he could go second on this lap. How vital has it been for the full factory Yamaha team to have the Pramac boys there? And Jack Miller has been relishing this season.
Yeah, he's loving the Yamaha package. The Pramac team was home for Jack when they were Ducati powered. I think you see the benefit certainly of having 4 riders worth of data out there. The fact that Jack was able to, at the start of the season, just grab the handlebars and force the bike into submission, and I think Fabio learnt something from that, and then Fabio was able to copy a little bit of Jack's homework, what he's able to do, and then Fabio was able to extract even more out of it. So I think it's give a boost to the factory team as well as to the Pramac team, and just the development back at Iwata. It's all coming together, and I think you need, in terms of the development of a new bike, you need 4 bikes out there at a minimum on track. And yeah, obviously that's why Ducati done so well over the years with 8 bikes. They're down to 6 and Yamaha are up to 4, so it levels the playing field somewhat.
And we've got a good mix of bikes in this top 10, which is great to see around here, Silva. Now, that was the Marquez brothers topping the table. No surprise there. We'll come on to them in a minute. But we've got Bezzecchi on the Aprilia. We've got Jack Miller on the Yamaha. Then we've got Maverick Vinales just hopping up there with the KTM, bringing them in as well. Lovely to see all these manufacturers battling those Ducatis.
You get the feel like this year everything is getting closer and closer. You know, the Japanese manufacturers are making full use of the concessions, and it's starting to pay off. So they're getting closer. The Aprilia, you know, Bezzecchi obviously his first year on the Aprilia, he's getting quicker and quicker. It's also a really good track for Aprilia. You know, Aleix Espargaro won here with the Aprilia, and you know, it suits the long corners, spending a lot of time on the leaning. It suits the character of that bike. So yeah, it's great to see. Maverick Vinales continues his good form as well. I mean, I was speaking with Manu Caso, his crew chief, yesterday, and he was just saying how they've found.
Hello, and this is Megan Birch, and oh, that's the big changeover even for my ears when going over to just myself. 16 minutes left of the session currently. Marc Marquez is still currently at the top of the session in first with a 2.09.206. That's the last lap time. I hope he's just coming out of the pit lane with that, because I can't actually see his best lap time for some reason. I think it's just what's happening with this session, strangely enough, but I seem to be doing okay. Oh, there they are. Still very slow lap times. with a 1:58.702 being Mark's best lap time. Then Alex is still in second and Bezzecchi still in third. I will hand back over to TNT.
So the weekend, though, we haven't seen him there so far this year.
No, we haven't, and you have to say that he's not fully fit either. You know, Alex, he's still wandering around, hobbling around, and it's amazing that he can race a bike, really, but he's determined, and it's nice to see him in that top 10. It's interesting here, Silverstone, because over the last decade we've had 10 different winners. Why do you think that is?
That's a tough one. Well, it's a track that makes good racing normally. You got high tyre wear as well, so that tends to create, you know, fights during the races. And yeah, I actually didn't know that, Susan. That's a really good one, that one. So good. It's good. Bodes well for the weekend.
It does. I mean, are we going to get a repeat winner, or are we going to get a new winner? I mean, it's one that Mark Marquez has, you know, only won once. It's not one of he loves the circuit, but he's not amazing. He's round here. None of the riders here you can say, oh, he's bang on favourite for the race.
No,
because we haven't seen that consistent form really from any of them. Probably Mark and Pecco got the best record around here.
Yeah.
And Fabio obviously also has a victory.
And the fact that we've had weather interruptions over the years does change the dynamic. But if we're going to have a new winner this weekend, it could be the 54, this man in screen, Aldeguer. He's really coming to the fore and looks so good in Le Mans. Taking a few liberties, even Mark telling him he's taken a few too many risks, which was interesting in the behind-the-scenes footage. But yeah, I think this track does throw a curveball, and some years it works better for some manufacturers than others. You know, you could turn up and Maverick Vinales, who won his first ever race here in MotoGP on the Suzuki back in the day, could click with KTM, and all of a sudden he could be the man to beat. It is a fantastic circuit because it's so.
I am just going to quickly take back over from TNT. Don't mind the thinner hair that I have at the moment. Right, so currently the standings go like Mark is still in first with a 1:58, and I can't see the timings again, strangely enough. So Alex is in second, Bezzecchi is in third, Miller is in fourth, which is good standings for Miller so far. Hasn't had the best season, but also hasn't had as bad as a season as last season. So far, those does keep crashing. Let's hope this weekend he does not decide to, well, right, he's not unlucky enough to crash out. That's Quartararo about to head out onto the track. Vinales is in fifth. Quartararo, coincidentally, is in sixth, just about to head back out onto the track. Rins in seventh, and here's a replay of Quartararo earlier with the updated aero that he's got, which could explain why he's doing so good, and is in sixth position, sorry. Right, so seventh is Rins, Aldeguer is in eighth, D'Antonio is in ninth, Bagnaia is in 10th. Unusually slow for Bagnaia, but I'm guessing he's just wanting to have a introduction to the circuit so far. It is only free practice one right now. Mir is in 11th, Zarco is in 12th, Marini is in 13th, 14th is Morbidelli, Acosta is in 15th, Binder is in 16th, Ralph Fernandez is in 17th, Ayagura is in 18th, Oliveira is in 19th, let's hope he doesn't crash. Bastianini is in 20th, Aleix Spargo, who is back as a wild card, is in 21st, though Chantra is in 22nd, Salvadori is in 23rd, and currently the only two improving out on the track is Ralph Fernandez and Bastianini. And yes, Julian, almost all of the top 10 currently are previous winners, which is quite impressive. Let's hope that the other previous winners can make their way to the top 10 and we can have an entirety of previous winners, because that would be quite nice and also quite funny to call, I would imagine. Right, heading back. I shall hand you back over to TNT.
Previously.
Well, the main thing for Alex is that he's found himself at home on that 2024 Ducati. As soon as he jumped on it after the last race in Catalonia last year at the test, the post-test, you know, with the new bikes for 2025, he jumped on that bike and was quick immediately felt confident, and that's not left him since. So I mean, his first faux pas basically was the race in Le Mans where he crashed twice, scored no points. But then again, can you blame him? The conditions were very, very tricky, and yeah, made a couple of mistakes. But except from that, he's been regular. He's been taking the points. He's been beating Pecco Bagnaia on a regular basis, and he's done really, really well. So yeah, Alex very, very much at home on that bike, and we know that package is just really, really sorted. That 2024 Ducati is working everywhere. They've got all the data from last year. They've got a lot of of experience with that bike, and he's using it to the maximum. Bastianini is back with the mass damper in the back. We saw that. We saw them. See that big rear seat unit there. You're gonna get a glimpse of it there. There you go there. So lots of the riders, the KTM riders, have abandoned it, and Mario Viñales, Acosta, Binder, they all moved away from it. But it looks like he's trying it again. They still have that vibration issue, and this is supposed to help counteracting it. But yeah, that vibration is still there.
And just back to the Ducatis, it's worth remembering that the Ducati that Alex Marquez on is different to the full factory Ducatis, but the gap is probably the smallest that it's ever been between factory. I can't call them non-factory. I don't even know what we're supposed to call them anymore, because it is, they have the backing, the factory backing now, but there is a difference between what he's riding and what Pecco and Mark are riding.
The independent teams get a year-old package, but it was the World Championship winning package. It's a great tool for Ducati to be able to provide to customer teams. So Gresini go pay their money, same as the VR46 team, they pay their money, but not for the package for Digi that's factory provided. So it's an interesting dynamic that the GP24 would probably be the preferred bike for Pecco Bagnaia, but he's got the latest and greatest. He's got the GP25, the Evolution, which should be better in every single area, but change isn't always better. Sometimes you modify and take away a little bit here or there, and he's just lost his comfort factor, which he needs on the front end of the bike, and struggling to get it back. He would swap seats with Alex Marquez now.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? Because they actually took that bike at the start of the season. They took it back, stripped it back to as much to the GP24 as they could, and he called it, I think, the GP24.1, the GP25. So they're so close now, the differences.
Yeah, they're close, and
but
I think
can have a big impact.
The really interesting thing there is what Michael was just saying about, you know, it's hard to improve every time, and it just seems, you get the feel after, you know, the races that we've done. Hey, is Lynn back in the paddock? Lynn Jarvis?
Nice to see Lynn Jarvis, who stepped aside at the end of last season.
So yeah, it's interesting to see that for Ducati now, it's really, really hard to improve. You know, that package that they had last year was just working everywhere. It was just like a really, really, really strong compromise in everywhere. So they've tried to improve. They turned up in Sepang with loads of new 2025 bikes, and none of the riders liked them. They all wanted to come back. They all struggled. Mainly the issue was struggling in the braking zones. So they were struggling to stop the bike. So they did sort of come back with the spec, but we don't know how much they can come back, because obviously, for example, if they change the position of the engine slightly in the chassis, so this is something that they can't change. They changed some kind of spec with the engine inside the engine as well. They wouldn't be able to change that, because now that engine spec is frozen until the end of 2026 actually. So yeah, it's tough to improve on a very, very good, near perfect package, and it seems like for Pecco Bagnaia it was a step backwards. Marc Marquez though, looks like he's not been too much affected, but for Pecco he's struggling to find the same feel that he had with his 2024 Ducati last year.
Just talking about developments, I want to get another look at the front end of Fabio Quartararo's bike. It looks like they've got the downwash duct, the diffuser on the front wheel, which we've not seen in any other MotoGP manufacturers. Normally it's on the side of the fairing. You can see Ducati's there, just at the lower front end of the fairing. That's a downwash diffuser to get a little bit of ground effect in turning. It looks like Yamaha put it onto the the front wheel on the, obviously you see a lot of disc covers and various aero devices on the front wheel, but Yamaha trying the ducting on there. That'll be an interesting one.
Good spot, Michael. And interesting to see Fabio earlier just getting a bit frustrated on the bike, and you get the sense that he's getting more frustrated because he knows now that he's got more to get out of the bike, whereas, you know, even several months ago he was rinsing that bike and couldn't get anything from it. So we're in a different scenario here.
Yeah, and imagine how jacked he is, because he's had a fantastic lap in Le Mans doing the pole position. A big deception in the race. I mean, you can't even blame him for it. It's not even a rider error. He got caught in that corner. It was so slippery. It was starting to rain a little bit, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't even call that a rider error. You know, it was just bad luck.
Right. So I'm going to take over from TNT for a bit. 5 minutes are currently left of the session, and if I'm looking up here, that's because it's where my TV screens are, so it's a little bit awkward to go about. And currently on board with Marc Marquez, who I'm not sure what run he is currently on, but I want to say 1-3. Morbidelli is currently only 4 tenths behind Marquez's time. And I would say that would put him around 8th, maybe 7th, and just about to cross the line alongside Mark. And where does Morbidelli go? It's quite a long circuit, I would say, the British Grand Prix. It's quite elongated, so I think... Oh! Right into 7th goes Morbidelli, and everyone's starting to slowly improve, but not as much as I would have thought they would have done this far into the session. It's been quite, I don't want to say uneventful, but I would say that so far FP1 has been steady. It's been relatively steady in how all the riders have gone about things, and they haven't seemed to have too many issues with like curves and stuff, as they usually do, and no one seems to be having any bike issues. And again, as I say that, they may have bike issues now that commentator's curse might be enacted. And I think Mia has just gone up into 12th with a 1:59.753. So 3 minutes left of the session. At the end of the session, I shall take you through where everyone is currently. And very loud noise outside the commentary box right now. So that's from... Coincidentally, I believe that is a motorbike. That is making all that racket. It's definitely the sound of a motorbike that needs some assistance, I think. Either that or it just has a lot of engine power. Right, so I shall hand over to TNT for a couple of minutes, given the fact that there isn't too much to talk about. A little bit of wobbling there for, I don't know, Bezecchi. It wouldn't come up for some reason who I was looking at, and it's incredibly difficult to tell where they are. They should really have the numbers of the riders on the side of the bike. I firmly believe that. I want a petition to do that. Right, I shall hand over to TNT, not just because of the terrible noise outside the commentary box right now.
And but yeah, it seems like it was amicable. They understood, and it was. I mean, it wasn't just about the performance. Mark got hurt, and it was years of hurt and surgeries, and I mean. They would have seen all that. They've lived it with him, you know, as a team. So I think they understood. And but it's great to see them back. Nevertheless, that session though, Mark on used tyres 4 times faster than P2, which is Alex's brother. Then everybody sort of bunched together. So it just looks again that Mark is just making such a huge difference. And yeah, that's just a rider, you know, just. Unbelievable pace with the used tyres straight away from the first session.
They talk at great depth actually about that situation that also changed Alex's life.
If I would actually remember to turn myself on. Right, yellow flag is currently out on the track, sector 1. I told you, this session was uneventful, and then 2 minutes ago, I say something, and then that is I believe that is Rao. No, it's Iagura. It's very difficult to tell them. Oh, slightly limping there for Iagura. Crashed in sector 1, turn 2. Let's have a replay of that. And it, just dropped it. Dropped it and went right into the curve. So I don't know why he's limping. I'm guessing his airbag may have gone off slightly. The rider does seem to be okay. Oh, there's a nice scene there. Though also I know what the noise outside the commentary box is, and that would be, there must be a motorcycle convention somewhere, because I'm seeing a lot of people go past either that or roadworks. I do not know which. Though yellow flag is still in effect, which would ruin everyone else's lap times if they are we're just on the verge of starting a new one. I can hear people then around the commentary box talking about the absolute chaos of a noise outside, and I'm guessing it's motorbikes. Right, session has ended now. Checker flag is out and people are not improving, because there's only one person with a slight improvement, and that is Acosta, and that is because he has just barely made it out of the yellow flag zone. And I'm going to end this as quickly as I can, because that is quite a terrible noise, and I do not know how much is coming on the stream, though that is quite hectic. Morbidelli has improved as well, yes. Thank you for pointing that out. Morbidelli has improved up to second position, taking Alex Marquez's spot. Though fastest lap goes to Marc Marquez with a 1:58, and I didn't quite catch that last bit of it since I was looking about where Morbidelli was. Though, oh, and I can hear Joshua outside the commentary box. Right, so Marc Marquez tops the session with a 1:58. And then Morbidelli is in second with 1:59.067. Alex Marquez is in third. Bezzecchi is in fourth. Jack Miller is in fifth. Vinales is in sixth. Cottararo is in seventh. Bagnaia is in eighth. Rins is in ninth. Acosta is in 10th. I think that noise has kind of gone away by now. I'm guessing it's a motorcycle convention, because we do sometimes have them pass around here. Right, Aldegar is in 11th, D'Antonio is in 12th, Mia is in 13th, Zarco is in 14th, Marini is in 15th, Binder is in 16th, Ralph Fernandez is in 17th, Iagura is in 18th, though obviously he has just crashed, so definitely not improving at any time for that. And Bashani is in 19th, 20th is Oliveira, Aleix Spargo finishes in 21st, Chantra is in 22nd, Salvadori is in 23rd. So overall, not a lot of improvement for people other than Morbidelli, who over the course of the past 15 minutes has been the only person minutely improving throughout the sectors. Please do join us on the channel later here on JB Motorsports 2 for more motorcycles and MotoGP action. I believe FP2 is on around 4 o'clock local time. I can actually say that because it's here in Britain. And please go over to JB Motorsports 1 with all of the coverage that's currently going on. And I believe Formula 1 is currently being covered, as well as IndyCar later and another F1. So it's all go on the channels, so please go and tune in. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.